It wasn't fine. I wanted to cry so many times while making that tier list. Howdy Meowers, I'm Oliver and I have returned for another BlushCat Behi episode.
Hi everyone, how's it going? Hope everyone's doing well.
First things first, let's get it out of the way now. How do we look?
Yeah. And
Are we
notice
back
any
to normal?
changes?
Do we look good? Do we look okay? It looks like we should be looking okay, so I don't know if we do or not.
We probably either look okay or worse than we've ever looked in our entire lives.
Yeah, or it probably is like, well, you look like you used to, but it didn't look good then, so it doesn't really look okay. That type of thing. I don't know.
That's terrible. But yeah, I can't even remember when, like how long ago it was that we were like, yeah, guys, sorry, we might look a little bit worse than we usually do. But hopefully it'll be fixed soon. It wasn't fixed soon.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It took this long.
Yeah, but it looks like everything's hopefully back to normal and we are smoother and gentler. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just consider that the first Behi point. Jumping
Exactly.
right into it. The cats, our cats that we talk with, do they look better? Hopefully, because it was a huge problem, lasted forever. It wasn't our issue to fix, so hopefully it's fixed now.
And that's what everyone else kept saying too. Oh, well, it's not my issue to fix. You're going to have to wait for this to get an update. And they're like, oh, well, it's not ours.
Yeah, so if you didn't listen to our first Behi episode, we talked about our struggles, our trials and tribulations, and we're going to be doing the same thing again today. We have a lot of new content on BlushCat, like our ASMR episodes that some people, were very hesitant to do, and let's talk about those.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we only have one so far, so let's talk about that.
Yeah. For starters, I just, in general, had to default to you in all of the creation process right from the start. Like we needed visual elements, we needed sound for our intro, all these things. And I was like, is this good? Like, is this what people would want to see? Is this what people would want to hear? Because I just don't know. And to this day, I still have not listened through the whole ASMR episode. I can't. But yeah, let's start with the visuals for like the intro.
Okay.
Because that took a while to really get situated.
Yeah, to make my vision come to life. Because, as usual, I have these visions and I'm like, this is what we need. We need an intro for the ASMR videos specifically, and Devin, you need to make it because I can't. And so I laid it all out for her and she got to work.
And I initially always say, I don't think I can do that. That's a whole lot of specific details that I just don't. How is that possible? But then I get to a point where I'm like, no, you know what? I think I just need to do this and then it will work. And I do that. And then I realize, oh, wait, no, of course that wouldn't work. Because everything always seems so easy when I just think, yeah, just make a couple of pictures and make it into a GIF and then you'll be fine. Except for some reason, if you put a GIF into the editing program that I have, all of a sudden it doesn't do any fade transitions. And so I had to use pictures, guys. I had to use pictures that I manually faded from one to the next, like picture 1, fade to picture 2, picture 2, fade to picture 3, and then, over and over again, looping back. Like, that's how the animation is made, because everything else it doesn't work or it's too complicated. But yeah, so to get that cat to look like it was breathing, it was not fun. It looked so stupid for multiple times. And before you even make the cat breathe, we had to make the cat, we had to go through the whole body. Oh my God. And yeah, the cat needed a body, and then the cat the eye mask.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long it took just for me to understand what you wanted from the eye mask?
Yeah, like I knew the specific texture that I wanted it to have, but I didn't know how to convey that. And also, you didn't know really
how to convey that.
Convey that, yeah. So that was a whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so an eye mask, sure, I can do that. And then it's like, no, an eye mask that is like fluffy. And so then I'm making a fluffy eye mask and it's like, no, not like that fluffy, like the other kind of fluffy. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And then we're making it and it's got like
spikes. At one point it had spikes. Yeah. And I was like, no, no, no.
So that was a whole endeavor just to, you know, the communication aspect of like getting one person to understand your vision, and then also trying to execute that vision when it's like, I don't know how to make that in like cartoon. Like it just seemed so crazy. But yeah, we got the picture made. As always, everything looks way worse once it's finally on YouTube in terms of color, because they just put that YouTube glow TM onto everything. But we got the picture, and then I used pictures, and I finally got the breathing pattern in a nice way. And then we needed to add that audio, which, I mean, I tried to make it sound muffled, guys, but like if I ever have to repeat that, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I have no clue what I did. I just kept doing things. I was following YouTube tutorials. They were not helping. They were doing things that I didn't want. It was like, oh, if you want to make your video sound like this. And I was like, no, that's literally, like, one of them was making everything sound underwater.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, no, I wanted muffled. I didn't want underwater. Like, it was crazy. So those are some of the reasons that the ASMR was teased so long ago.
In our, like, first Behi episode.
Yeah. But it didn't get done until, now. It wasn't just like, oh, how long does it take you guys to whisper a couple of words? No, there was like multiple steps and multiple times of even probably being like, okay, I've worked on it for like quite a while and I need a break. Like, can we just like, not for a second, because nothing is working out.
Yeah. And honestly, maybe nobody even likes it. Maybe nobody likes the intro. Maybe nobody likes the ASMR episodes. Who knows? But I'm satisfied with it. Like, I really like the intro.
Me too.
You like brought my vision to life and made it what I wanted. Like, I think for what we're working with, especially, the editing software and all that, I think it's good. Like, I like it.
Yeah. I hope other people see, the vision that we saw, because I think it's nice too.
Yeah. And the actual ASMR itself, I'm still a little hesitant about, even though I'm the one who really wanted to do it, because I like listening to ASMR, and I really liked way back when the ASMR episode that we had done, and I thought it was just like, I was like, it works, even though it's like a podcast audio only type of thing. I thought it was kind of enjoyable, even though it's really hard to whisper for so long. Like, it's like ASMR videos are taxing.
They are very. It's one of the hardest things I've ever recorded. And also because I was like, I don't know is this good? Like, am I whispering properly? Like,
Yeah.
because you were like, use variable speeds and like, keep saying this word, but then like, I'm going to switch and I'm going to say it. And then it's like, say this word or this word. And I was just like, I'm just going to try and follow. But I don't actually, like, I can't tell if it's good.
Yeah. And like, we don't have like, ASMR mics. So it's like, maybe it doesn't even sound great. Maybe everybody is puking while they're listening to it, being like, this is not good ASMR. This is not good K-pop content. This is like, you're really reaching, trying to, connect something to K-pop right now. I don't know. But I think we're going to keep making more ASMR videos, but like, it's not going to have like, I mean, maybe at some point we could do some sort of visual thing, but for now it's just gonna be different whispering things, and we're somehow gonna have a K-pop theme to it. And that was another thing we were kind of like, ooh, is this weird, was like the cats. like we still have the cats there, but they don't move. So that's kind of like the visual, because we like the background for our podcast episodes. We think it's like pretty calming and would have made it like, you know, a good visual if you wanted something to look at for the ASMR, but like a lot of times, you know, you don't even have to look. But then we're kind of, you know, all done finishing everything up, and it's like, wait, is this creepy how the cats are just staring at you the entire time? I don't know.
Staring into your soul.
Yeah.
But we were, you know, told from an alternate source that they didn't mind it. So we were like, okay, maybe it's not so bad. You know, because we were like, okay, we wanted to have the cats there, you know, and I made the cats have their little headphones. So it's like, yeah, you know, we'd like to use this. But then it was like, is it weird because they're not talking? But we can't turn back time and have them talk without it being an extremely, extremely long process to add that in. Because normally everybody, you know, the cats talk like as we are talking.
Right.
So to make them talk would be really difficult. And so then it's like, okay, well, if they're not talking, maybe they also shouldn't be looking at us. Maybe their eyes should be closed. Maybe they should have the masks on. But then it was kind of like, but is that even creepier? Because then they're going to be like, just like sleeping there or something, but not moving as well. So yeah, it was kind of like whatever option seemed like it would be a little creepy. So we were just like, let's just stick with this.
Yeah.
So.
And also the headphones aren't on the ears, and that might bother some people, but I really wanted the cats to have headphones on. So like you made them, and I think it's cute. So just get over it.
And I did try to position them on the ears. Like I did see what that would look like if I considered that sort of placement. It was not good, guys. It was not good.
I mean, honestly, sometimes I will like wear my headphones kind of like that. If, you know, I've been wearing them for a long time, and it's like you need to keep them on for a while to, you know, like edit the BlushCat ASMR episode or something, because you can't listen to it. So I have to edit those. And it's like, you know, your ears are getting a little bit sore from the headphones. So you kind of like shimmy them back a little bit, or like shimmy them forward. You know, I do that sometimes.
Okay. And yeah, because I was like, I mean, we could have the cat have like earbuds or something, but it's like, no, that's not the vibe.
So even when everything is all said and done, I've edited it, you have designed everything, we've made the decisions that we have made, and we're ready to upload, but then it's like, wait, we still have one more thing. We need a thumbnail. And so that's always like the last step, but I really like it. I think it's cute. And honestly, you might be seeing more of the thumbnails looking a little more like the ASMR thumbnails, if you know what I'm getting at.
In the future, like we're not done with like, you know, new projects, new sort of like things to add to the channel. In the future, you might be seeing a bit of a visual shift of some kind, perhaps.
So, you know, we'll explain more about that when we're ready to make the changes, but there will be some changes visually, and hopefully it's not too upsetting. It's a little, you know, like, oh man, like, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad. Sort of like there's gonna be a little feeling of loss, a little bit, but I think moving forward it will be a good option. I think it's a little bit necessary. So yeah, it'll be sad, but
hopefully it doesn't bother anybody too much if they're like really attached to the way things look. But yeah, so there's that coming up at some point. Who knows what obstacles we'll run into, even though, you know, it's gearing up to not be like super far from now.
Yeah.
As of now, but you know, your whole computer might crash, you might lose all the files, have to redo everything all over again. I don't know.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
and that we've been working on for a very long time as well. And like the initial, like we could definitely talk about that in the next Behi. Like the initial stages of that oh my God, disaster.
Remember my sketches?
Yeah. So we could talk about that later once it's revealed. But yeah, and honestly, like I feel like people that never saw things now, I don't think will really mind at all. You know? I think it's only if you know the change that you would mind.
Yeah. I also feel like while we're on the topic of the visuals of the channel, and especially when we make the change, I feel like it's maybe going to appear like we're trying too hard at this point, and people might get the wrong idea. I might start to get the wrong idea about BlushCat. Like, I honestly feel like we've lost it a little already, and what if people expect too much from us? Like, you know, back in the day, like, it used to be like more
Scuff
Scuff
Central.
Yeah, like that was part of the brand, and I still want BlushCat to have that like sort of memeability about like the quality and the aesthetics in a way. So honestly, if you're watching something and you're like, ew, this is kind of like scuffed, this is a little bit cruddy and weird, like just think of that as part of our goal. Like, no, we didn't do this is what we wanted to achieve.
Right.
So I mean, honestly, all the imperfections, let's just say it was on purpose and not just because we couldn't achieve what we wanted to. But you know, I still feel like we should have that, and when we make the change, I feel like it might look like we're trying too hard.
I get what you're saying, because like now everything is sort of a little bit more like polished in terms of like just like the art in general, you know, it's like supposed to be nice looking.
Yeah.
And before it was very like
Yeah.
And like we had like the visual elements that we would add, and like the text that we would add was very like, you know, throw it on there sort of vibe. And now things aren't that way. So yeah, I guess. But like the whole point though, when we came back and we revamped everything, was that it was like we want to make it actually look better.
We wanted to make it look better.
It's a hard balance, I guess.
Yeah, but at the same time, we don't want to lose that, and we don't want it to be like have people think we are trying too hard, and it's like, oh, we know how good this looks, because it's like, well, we know what we're working with, and we know it's not like professional level like equipment, so it's like it can't really be an extremely like flawless level, so it's like we know it's not really like that. But anyway, I just feel like we need to keep some of the original essence.
We're gonna have to just keep it in our you know, delivery, I guess.
Yeah. You know, YouTube will help with that too, with the way they
true.
ruin everything.
Yes,
So.
definitely.
Yeah, because honestly, all the artwork and the video files and everything, they do look super high quality, and they're nice, pretty colors on our computers. But then YouTube just ruins them, like we've talked about. Takes forever to upload anything, and yeah, it's just very trying sometimes.
Yeah, like we spend such a long time picking, or like, you know, we spent such a long time picking the colors and the color scheme for everything, and it like matches across everything. And then I look at it on, you know, once it's been uploaded, and I'm like, this is not it. This is not what it's supposed to look like. The light pink looks white practically. The blues look teal. You know, the purples look red. Like I don't know. It's just it looks so much better in like regular, you know, real files than uploaded stuff.
Yeah.
Like we have, I feel like I didn't stress it enough. The attention to detail that we strive for is severe when it comes to the graphic images.
Yes.
So like, you know, the ASMR cat background and, you know, scene, it's like we want to make sure each color is right, each line is in place, And then the most recent thing that we made was the tier list graphic, the tier list.
Yes.
And like, it's not just like, oh, throw some boxes and, in some rows. No, we made it very specific, make these boxes this way and this size with these bevels, with these outlines. Like it's just frustrating when it turns out to look different. The subtleties of the paw prints, like the powdered paw prints on the background of the tier list, all that, like, it was done with care. Maybe it's still not, there's only, sometimes we come across things just like, this is as good as we can make it, right? But still, we took time to make it that good, like as good as we could. And then you upload it to YouTube and they just literally vomit all over everything. And it's so frustrating. But yeah, so that was our newest endeavor, that tier list.
Right, let's talk about that. The K-pop favorite music video tier list is the absolute bane of my existence. That is our first tier list video on BlushCat. We've been introducing new content, and this was our first experiment with this style of video. As we just said, we wanted to make the whole tier list ourselves. We thought, we don't need a website. We're just gonna get our own graphics and make it cute and make it fit the BlushCat aesthetic, and it will be fine. It wasn't fine. I wanted to cry so many times while making that tier list, not only like while placing the music videos because it was so hard to make a decision and I felt bad, but also because I kept screwing up while making the images and placing them onto the tier list, because I like did that part of it, and you designed the tier list, I guess, but I placed everything on it, right?
Yeah. So okay, we thought, this is fine, a tier list video, like it'll be, pretty simple. We're just gonna make that. Well, actually, it was not simple at all, even in terms of like picking what exactly it was that the tier list was, and picking what we were going to be including on the tier list, and also picking what we were going to be including in the video. Like, is the video going to be us making the decisions? Is the video going to be us sharing the decisions? Is the video going to be your tier list and then my tier list? Or is it going to be a joint tier list? Like, there was so many decisions to make, but it was like, it's going to be fine. We'll just make a tier list picture and just put each of the thumbnails onto the picture. And like, yeah, it's a lot of pictures, but this is the longest tier list we're going to make. We won't ever have to do one like this again. And then it got to be, well, we can't really fit that many pictures very easily when you're working with this size screen. If we had a tier list like website sort of vibe, we could like scroll down or something maybe. No, we're just going to be working with a fixed image to make it the least complicated. But apparently it wasn't as simple as we were originally intending to be placing those pictures, because we were then adding the paw prints and the cat heads, and you had to shift everything.
Right.
So that's where a lot of the problems lied, right?
Right. Which at the end of it all, I'm satisfied with it. I mean, I think it looks good. It is like useful to look at if I want to know like how we felt about something.
I think it's a little hard to tell the color of the paw prints when the YouTube glow is added, unfortunately. But
yeah. And I don't really know if anybody cares about hearing almost 2 hours of why we placed the videos where we did, but that's what you got. So take it or leave it. But, looking back, I'm like, yeah, that was fine. But making it, yeah, it wasn't fine. I was having a horrible time because I kept making mistakes, and I thought it was going fine until I had to redo this tier list. I don't even know how many times. I don't even know. It took me so long. Just because I kept messing up. It was multiple
days, right?
It was multiple days, yeah. And I think the first time I realized I messed up, I wasn't all the way done yet, but I think I had made it to the top tier, and I was like, oh man, I messed up so long ago, but I don't remember. And because, you know, everything has to shift, some of the thumbnails got smaller so that other ones could fit in the tier. Nothing was in the same spot, like, so I couldn't just go back and like change one little thing. I had to change everything and do it all over again.
Yeah, and you didn't save any of the files or like keep any of the previous layers. So it's like you had to actually undo and redo the work. It wasn't like, oh, well, let me make a change. I'm just going to copy the layer. Like that didn't happen. So
I actually did copy the layers for like about halfway through, and I had saved 2, like I had done like, you know, 3 batches of like a new file.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't helpful once I made it to the end and I couldn't go back that far anymore, you know?
Right.
So it really didn't matter, and I had to just start from the entire beginning multiple times. But, you know, I was like, I accidentally placed cat heads instead of paws while doing I think it was Daisy music video, and I'm like, that's not good. And so I had to go back and change that. The first time I realized I literally did not include one of the videos. So I think that was the first error. And I was like, yep, I just never put the thumbnail for that video in there. So got to go back and do everything all over again. And I just like, one of the things, I don't even know how it happened because I know I put that paw there. But then when I looked at the image and was like, getting ready to add it into, you know, like the video editing software to like put it all with the actual audio, I was like, what happened to this image? It's messed up. The paw's not in it. And so I like had to go back, and like everything just kept going wrong. And I was like, how could I be this bad at making it? Like, how was I was just so like, I had to do it so many times. I just kept getting worse each time I had to go back and do it. Like I kept making more mistakes.
The fatigue must have been setting in.
Yeah.
I think it's so heartbreaking when like technology is supposed to make things easier. Like, it's, you know, if you're drawing something or making something, but it's on the computer and you can just save things, you could just undo things and stuff like that. But the amount of times that I have like, usually what happens for me that makes things difficult is scaling. So like I will make something, or I'll be like, oh yeah, I have that. Like I have that file for that thing, and we want to like make a newer version of it, like where we've changed this one thing or something. But for some reason, it's like the last time I made it, it was so small, and I'm like, we are not working with that size of things, so I need to make it bigger. But you can't, I mean, if you had like other types of programs, like it's complicated, but you know, like there are certain types of programs and certain types of like digital media that you can work in where scaling would be fine. But you can't just in general just scale something up and it's like, okay, yeah, cool, it's bigger now and let me keep working on it. It's like, no, I had to redo the entire things. Like some of the things that we used in the past and then we wanted to like make it again, I had to redo and redraw the entire thing. Yeah. So it's like I scale it up, but it looks like garbage, and then I have to like go over, like trace over it all. Yeah. And I'm saying trace, but I'm not saying like we have like digital, you know, drawing pads or something. No, like trace over like with your mouse and like path tools and stuff like that. So it's not even like, oh, I had to redraw it all over again. I don't even mean draw. But yeah, so that's when you have like digital stuff and it seems like, oh yeah, well, it'll be fine if I have to make this change. Sometimes it's just not fine. It's so much work. You do have to do the whole thing over again.
Yeah, and if I ever see like a mistake, oh, actually, you know, I did in the ASMR video. We got it all done, rendered, uploaded onto YouTube, just not published yet. So I was going to listen to it back to add like the chapters and stuff, and I'm like, I've got to render the entire thing again because one of the apostrophes is missing and that can't be happening because for some reason the font that we use, it doesn't ever like keep apostrophes. If I copied and pasted the like song titles and the group names and just put them into the ASMR video, but when I copy and paste, sometimes the apostrophes just or like commas don't show up, so I have to make sure for every single one to like go back and retype it in, or else it just won't appear. And I'm like, yeah, there was actually an apostrophe in one of the song titles and it's not there, and that's really gonna bother me, so I have to re-render, or not I had to re-render and re-upload the entire video just so that it would be there. So definitely if I ever make a typo in like a short or something and it's been uploaded, I either will take it down, or if it's been up for long enough and it took me that long to notice, I will be really, really sad about it. So yeah, it will weigh on my heart until the end of time. And yeah, just know it's not something I ever feel good about.
See, for me, I'm not like happy about it, but at the same time, I'm like considering like time investment versus like impact, you know, like this video rendered for 9 hours and there happens to be a problem with it. How impactful is the problem? And if I'm like, yeah, it's not worth it to render it for another 9 hours. The ASMR one didn't take 9 hours, but I'd be like, yeah, it's just not worth it for that size of a mistake. Then I won't. But if it's like, okay, I saw the mistake, it's a little bit annoying, but you know what, I will fix it because like it's a manageable amount of time, then I'll think to fix it. But yeah, you're always like, no, we need to have this fixed. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So, you know, hopefully for my sanity, I will get to the point where I can let some things slide. It can add to that memeability that I wanted us to preserve. But for now, yeah, I don't have an easy time letting things like that get by.
Like for my videos, I just scream about it in the description or with text on the screen that I do see the mistake, and there's not really much I can do about it. So
yeah, because that's like the last thing I want is somebody being like, hey, this is a flop, like you messed up, and I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Like when I like man, that's just the worst when you know and then somebody goes and points it out.
Yeah, I'm like that's whenever I make a mistake, I'm like, I know that I made it. Like I am intentionally like uploading this or sharing it, like knowing that it has that mistake. So like you would think that other people would think that like, oh, she probably knows because like she uploaded it. But a lot of the times people are like, I just needed to point out that you made this mistake. And it's like, okay, thanks. I know I made the mistake. Thank you for reminding me. Sometimes it's actually genuinely helpful though. Like I have uploaded videos before where, well, okay, so I've uploaded ones before where there's like a chunk of black, like for some reason the video is just gone. The audio's there, but the video is just gone. And honestly, I didn't really know what to do about that. I was like, okay, well, that's cool that you pointed that out to me, but there's nothing I can do about it. But sometimes I've uploaded ones where there's no audio for some weird reason. And I don't really like to check my videos after I upload them. So if there's ever no audio, it is helpful for people to be like, hey, there's no audio. And that is very clearly the type of mistake that it would be like, I don't think the person knows.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why in the world would I have uploaded that? So yeah, sometimes it's helpful, but like people should use, context clues or like, what's the word? Comprehensive thinking.
Deductive reasoning.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like they should just, think first. Does this seem like, and also, does it seem like it matters, Like, I know that you didn't get to see 3 seconds of the video because it went to black, but does it matter?
Yeah, so that's just some of it. I've also been having a real struggle lately with getting another track by track out there. Ooh. For all the wonderful Meowers to enjoy, as if it's really that important. But
I love the track by tracks.
I wanted to do it, okay? I wanted to do it, and so trust me, I've been working on one. It's coming at some point, maybe, who knows? But it's really, really, really giving me some difficulties. And also Spotify, because that's something that we use for the podcast and the track by tracks and the ASMR episodes. So Spotify is actually getting rid of the music and talk feature, and I don't really know why. I guess not enough people used it, but I was using it. I thought it was pretty cool that I could do the track by tracks like that. But, they're getting rid of that. So the track by tracks will be on Spotify, but it's just going to look like it does on YouTube. So, the music's not actually going to be there, which is kind of a bummer. But, it is what it is. And they're also, like, getting rid of all the editing tools, which we never used anyway. But it's like, why are you changing everything again? That's just something that we have to deal with. That's kind of annoying. They keep changing stuff over on Spotify.
And here's like a fun thing you reminded me about. Well, it's not fun. Okay. We've been saying this whole time, we've been talking about YouTube, right?
Right.
Me completely forgetting that we ever even put stuff on Spotify.
Yeah, sorry, listeners on Spotify or like anywhere else.
Yes. So if you're listening on Spotify, hey, hi. But so yeah, we've been talking about how ugly YouTube makes things. And so you might be thinking, oh, well, I'm watching on Spotify, so it probably looks better here because it's not YouTube. Well, fun fact, we have to take all of our, I make the video, I upload it onto YouTube, and then it gets downloaded off of YouTube and uploaded onto Spotify. So you're seeing the YouTube puke on Spotify as well,
Right.
in case you're feeling left out.
Yeah, and it's not even like the highest quality. Like, they don't let me download it from YouTube to put it on Spotify in like superb quality. So it's kind of worse than it is on YouTube, actually.
It's so dumb. And like, we wanted to put the real, original video file on Spotify. They wouldn't let us. We even tried to use customer support to be like, why is our video never finishing like processing or whatever? Like, why is it not? And they're just like giving us the worst explanations possible. Like, it did not make any sense at all.
No offense. No, don't get mad at us, Spotify. We are using the platform.
But yeah, so we couldn't figure out how to get our actual video file to upload properly. So the only way we could find to make it work was to take the downloaded file from YouTube. So yeah, I know we have been mentioning you Spotify, but don't worry, it looks just as bad, if not worse there than it does on YouTube.
Yeah.
That was one thing I was going to say. The other thing I was going to say, another fun fact about the track by tracks, I actually have been invited to partake in some of the track by tracks if it was an album that I had interest in. But if you've heard me ever on one of the normal podcast episodes talk about music and songs, I think we quickly realized that I did not have the right vernacular, skill set, understanding of music maybe to really provide the right type of commentary for those. So
it's not even like, I mean, I still feel like you could if you wanted to, though, because I say such random trash. Like, I'm not like talking about the composition and stuff. I'm like,
sometimes you are.
I'm like, this sounds like this one thing I heard back like 15 years ago. Like, and it's just the most random stuff, but I wanted to talk about it because I'm like, maybe somebody would be like, oh yeah, like I thought that too, and I'd be like, cool.
Mine are like, I liked it. I mean, I thought it was nice. I didn't like it as much as this one, but it was good. And it kind of reminded me of something, but I can't figure out what it reminded me of. But yeah, I mean, it was good. So yeah, maybe someday I will be like a special guest on one of the track by tracks with like a really, some album that I just would die for or something. But yeah, for now, I guess they're not my thing. But we will all be eagerly awaiting the next track by track.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm working on it. I just I've talked about it before, you know. I have to first listen to the album enough times to be like, you know, knowing the tracks, and I have to decide, yeah, I want to talk about these songs because I really like them, or like, you know, I have a lot of stuff to say and maybe somebody else will be like, "Oh, I thought that too." Or, you know, maybe just I want to talk about it somewhere to not just air. I don't know. But I have to be like, okay, yeah, I got to record. I got to record the track by track. I got to do it all alone, sit there, talk to no one, and act like I'm talking to someone. And it's just so hard to talk. I don't know how you do it. It's so hard to talk for such a long time in like just like constantly talking. I like I have had to re-record the track by tracks just because I've gotten the track by tracks into the most recent one. I mean, I haven't like re-recorded every single one I've done, and I haven't even done very many, but the most recent one is giving me so much strife because I recorded it once and I was clearly having some sort of issue because I listened to it back. I was going to edit it and I'm like, I sound like I can't breathe properly.
Oh no.
And it's just so hard to record for that long, only one person talking that much, and it's like, we'll just take breaks. I'd rather just get it all out of the way, and then I have to edit it, and I have to listen to my own voice, only me, that long again when I already lived through it once, and then I have to listen to it again to be able to add chapters. Like, ew! Why do I put myself through that? I don't want to do that.
I know, that's like the best reason to like think of having an editor, right? Is like, you don't have to listen to yourself, and like you don't have to listen to what you just said again. Yeah. I feel like if I think about the times that I've tried to record something that wasn't gaming commentary, and that was in my podcast episodes that I have, that has quotation marks around it. Literally, I have a playlist on my channel that I believe is quotation podcasts. Yeah, where I'm just talking. Like, there was ones where I was just talking and it was like, I'm just gonna think of whatever random stuff to say, and they were like intentionally extremely weird. And also, I was doing an impression, a slight impression. Those ones, I feel like I remember it being like really difficult to, like, I want it to be long, but it was really difficult to make the length, you know, happen. And then even the ones where I knew what I wanted to say, because I was like supposed to be sort of storytelling my own experience, I was like I don't think that they would be nice to listen to at all. Like, I feel like I hate them. I feel like I would want to redo the whole thing. Like, why was I wasn't doing a good job at storytelling. I was just thinking, okay, I have to say these things. Just say the things. Like, get it out and say it. And it didn't sound like nice. It didn't sound like, so yeah, I think probably it's more difficult when you are doing something like that versus when I'm doing gaming commentary. It's like I'm just talking about the game. Like, it's different.
Yeah. Well, that's like, you know, all kind of negative stuff. It's like, yeah, we struggle. And so it's like, well, why are you doing it? Well, it's just because, you know. But something that actually is enjoyable, although it does take such a long time, is something that we have on Spotify only. And, you know, we've talked about it. We push them sometimes, the BlushCat playlists that I curate, every single one of them, just for your ears. And honestly, one day maybe they will be available on YouTube. I am not sure if that would like really clutter the channel, but personally I'd like them on YouTube. I'd have to re-add every single song, and some of those playlists have like over 500 songs in them.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, it would be nice to have them on YouTube, But like the only reason is because like, would it look irrelevant to have that many playlists of not our content? But yeah, I like making the playlists because I just think it's so interesting to find how many similarities there are in some of the songs. So I'm like, this one flows so perfectly into this next song. I like have to create this like perfect transition. Like some areas are really golden areas in the playlists, and I'm like, these songs right here fit so well together. But then it's like a new song will come out and I'm like, well, I could break up the golden area because this kind of fits, but honestly the transition between the first song and this new song isn't as good as like the original order. So do I want to do that? Not really. And then I have to try to squeeze it in somewhere else, and I'm like, it would really work better where like I wanted to put it, but I don't know. So it's kind of hard, but I enjoy doing it.
And I've tried to contribute here and there. Like, it's like, oh, can you think of any songs for the rainy day playlist? And I'll be like, yeah, how about it's raining or something, and you'll be like, it's like the most basic thing ever, and you're like, yeah, I have that. Like, I don't, anytime that I can suggest one that you're like, oh, I'm like, oh, I got one, guys. I got one that she didn't think of yet. But yeah, it's basically all you, and they're pretty incredible. Like you're very good at, finding, like, they all make sense, like the tone.
Picking out, yeah. And like, I like being able to find the vibes and like sort them all together. So there will be more playlists coming. If you want to listen to them, go ahead and, somehow you could, I don't know, you could tweet about them and be like, yeah, this playlist is really good or something. I don't know. But I do take time to curate those and then make the cover art, which honestly is like, I try to keep a basic theme for them so I don't like, go crazy trying to like make it super detailed. So it's kind of supposed to be like very simple, but I want them to look somewhat, pleasing.
I love the cover arts.
So yeah, thank you.
And I love them all together. Like, oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, I think they look pretty decent. So I just like, nobody look too close at them somehow. You're always like, who's gonna see it that big? And it's possible. It could be possible. But I'm like, I kind of like threw up in this one area, and like, if you look too close, you'll like see that the line doesn't exactly connect, but I cannot be bothered to try to make it any better than that.
I'm like, it's an icon. Difficult. It's fine. Yeah, it's an icon for a playlist that they click on for 1 second, and then they're seeing songs and stuff. It's not even.
I try to base them all off of like emojis, so it's something simple and like, basic, and I don't have to try to craft an entire thing. So hopefully that's fine. I don't really know, but yeah, go check out the playlists.
Going back for a second about what you're saying about putting them on YouTube and then it cluttering the channel, I was actually just recently thinking that I wished you could make like playlists of playlists, or not really playlists of playlists, but like groups of playlists. Almost like I wish you could make the playlist page, like on your channel page, have shelves or something.
Yeah, Spotify has like folders. I remember when they finally got folders, and I'm like, this is so great. Like, this is everything I wanted.
Yeah, because I was
do that on YouTube.
Not to like, I keep talking about my own stuff, but it's so quick because this is just what made me think of it. Is I thought I had a couple different let's plays of games that like fit the same category. Like it was like feel good games or something, and I wanted to be able to put them together so that if anyone was looking through, playlists, they would know, oh, all of these ones are like that, know.
Yeah.
But they don't let you do that. But then we could do that on BlushCat too, and we could have like a folder with all of the music playlists, a folder with all the tier lists, a folder with all the podcasts, and that would be
That's
so
a great
nice.
idea. YouTube, are you listening?
They're not. They're really not.
We need folders.
One final thing I just remembered, I'm just gonna throw in here. The recording setup was so scuffed before. I literally sat on the floor. But I actually have a little desk now, so it's much better. It does creak every once in a while though. So sometimes if you listen carefully, you might hear like a little That's the desk, but at least I have one now.
Yeah, that's a nice bonus. I guess one last Behi thing to talk about would be the Meower monthlies, which we mention sometimes in the podcasts. And I personally enjoy doing those. I mean, it was my idea to, like, you know, be able to talk about the music a little more without actually, you know, having to speak it. But, you know, we share our top tracks of the month. We share what we've been watching, who we've been listening to, give some recommendations. I just feel like it's kind of like, you know, a TMI sort of page. And I like it. I think it looks pretty cute. But you do struggle a little bit with that each month when I'm like, hey, you have your stuff for the Meower monthly ready? Like, what songs have you been listening to? And you're kind of like,
none. I love the concept of the Meower monthly. Like, I love that we do it. I think it's so cool. It's just that I feel bad because every month I feel like I either have the same answers that I had the month before, or I have the same answer for like every option. It's like your most listened to track, &1, Broken Heart. And then it's like, okay, what would you recommend? And it's like &1, Broken Heart. And it's like, okay, what do you have on repeat? And I'm like, &1, Broken Heart. Like, I don't have, like, usually it's just there happens to be like one song that will come out that month that is one that I really like, and so I'll watch it a lot or listen to it a lot. But like I don't take in a lot of music besides that. So it's not like, oh, out of all of these things I was listening to, let me pick my top ones. It's sort of always just like, well, I only really listen to this one thing. Like, I kind of listen to some other things, but it was just sort of like random. So yeah, I definitely struggle every month. I try to give some varied answers. I really do. Anytime that something comes across, like in day-to-day life, that I'm like, oh, like that's a thing that I watched, like I will try and jot it down to be like, I can use this for the Meower monthly. But I still think, even though, you know, my taste is a little less varied, I still think it's like, it's so fun for us to have that. I just like, I like that it's like, you know, if you follow this podcast that you listen to, and like at the end of every month they give you like a little newsletter, you know, that's got like their favorites, and sometimes it has news, or sometimes it has like sometimes it's news about our podcast, you know, the new playlists, but sometimes it's news about like the idols, or it's like, you know, you can tell from the superlatives sometimes different things that happened. I just think it's fun.
Yeah, so we are going to keep doing that. We've got almost, well, like coming up for May, we will have had an entire year's worth of Meower monthlies.
Wow, 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, so make sure to check that out. You can check it out on Twitter or on, you know, Instagram. And make sure to listen to BlushCat and check out our ASMR, check out our tier list, check out Spotify, check out everything.
Yeah.
So that just about concludes the second BlushCat Behi. And if you enjoyed it, like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the BlushCat channel, and turn on notifications.
I hope you did like it, and I hope you like everything else as well. And if that is in fact the case, leave a comment and let us know what it is that you liked. Or if you liked everything like I was hoping you would, what you liked the most.
And you can also, you know, tell us some stuff that you want to hear from us, maybe, if you're interested in letting us know that. If you're like, oh, I'd love if they did this on BlushCat, you know, you can comment it and we could consider it. if you've been wanting to say something like that, now's the time to do it. If you don't want to say anything like that, don't worry about it. You don't have to comment that kind of comment. You can just tell us, yeah, the graphics do look good. I enjoy the Meower Monthly. I liked the tier list video. I liked this video. The podcasts are awful. No, don't comment like that. But yeah, just leave us a comment if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere else that you might be listening to the podcast. Follow us there, rate us positively. Our reviews aren't looking so good. So yeah, just do everything that you should be doing that's positive. Thank you.
And hop on over, like if you are on one of those other places, remember to hop on over to YouTube if you're looking for some of those other content pieces that we were talking about and they're not on your platform that you're currently listening on.
Right.
So that's going to wrap things up, I guess. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you for listening. Stay meowing. This has been Oliver.
And me. Bye.
Meow 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 meow.